we kind of have several small tasks to do. And the main thing is to talk about how you do the final. So I'm going to talk about that first. And then for the end of class, we'll go over exams because some people still need to take the exam and they can leave or they can get off teams at that point. And I'm recording because this is super important info and some people aren't here to hear it. So they're going to need to hear it. Okay, so let me make this canvas go to student view so that you all will see exactly how it's going to look like to you. So there is a module down toward the end of Canvas. Keep scrolling, called Final Exams. And today at 5 p.m., the final exam that you are assigned to will appear in here underneath these rules. So they're going to appear at 5 p.m. You're assigned to one. There's different versions, and I split you all up and put like your best friend is on a different version than you, and I kind of try to split up people on teams and stuff like that. So they're going to appear at 5 p.m. and it is a Canvas exam that you can go in and out of it and you can work on it for a week. So we will not have you guys coming back in here to take an exam. You work on this according to your own schedule, but it's due in a week. So let's look at what the rules are for these. In general, I think students really like these way more than normal exams. It's a little bit bigger.
How many questions?
I'll get to that. Yeah. So they're open for a week. There are 4 versions and they're 100 points apiece. And over the years, I have made new versions once in a while, and they're about the same level of difficulty and they're the same style. And they do have some of the exact same questions on them, but they are different from each other. These are open for a week, and I think as you're planning, plan on these taking about 8 or 10 hours. And sometimes students are like, oh, that's so long. But you don't study for this exam. You don't come and sit in here for an hour to take it. And that 8 or 10 hours like includes looking up stuff, you know, thinking about the exam. And the reason I put that on there is to encourage people, you know, don't wait till the day before and then try to do the exam. I mean, you could, if that's all that you have to do that day. But they probably take 8 or 10 hours if you're taking it seriously and if you don't rush through it. But don't let that put you off. This, I make these exams because I want these to be kind of reflective of how you will work when you're out of school and what like real life is like. So when you start doing your job in real life, there are not that many things that you have to have memorized. And there are very few times when you have to, on the spot, accomplish a task in an hour off of stuff that you have memorized. So the way that we do tests in college is not very relevant to what the rest of your life will be like. The rest of your life is kind of like this. Like, here's some stuff that you've got to do, and you've got a lot of resources available, and you can organize your time how you want. This is more realistic. So the only thing really that you cannot do with these exams is to transmit questions to other people. So that's like, don't go verbally ask other people to help you with the question, and don't put the questions on like Chegg or whatever those, like, I know these exist, these websites, you can put a question out there and then get help back. These should not go on Chegg, and you don't need to. You're going to have the resources available to do this. I've been doing these for, I don't know, probably like 15 semesters now, and I've had 2 semesters that I've had to do honor council stuff from people cooperating. And one of them, it was like a big mess. So please do not cooperate with other people. If you have a question and you're not sure how to approach it, ask me that and I'll point you in the right direction. But do not cooperate with other people. Do not, in the future, after you're gone from my class, don't help future people with this exam. Make them do it like you had to do it. I'll get to what the questions are toward the end, but you're gonna have Canvas questions and I want you to type in answers and they should be sentences. They're not gonna be long answers, but put them in sentences. And if you're being super sloppy all the time, like that's not a sentence and there's multiple stuff spelled wrong, I take off some points for that. But I'm not super ticky-tack. They should be sentences, typed and generally spelled correctly. Usually people aren't late because they have a week to do it, but if they're late, these are the late years. So if it's late at all, it loses 10%, and then each half hour after that, it loses 10 more %. But you've got a week. So these exams are based on stuff that you learned this semester. Pretty much. So the best place to go and look for resources is go to your class notes and go to OpenStax to start. Because I'm trying to base it on what I actually taught you. So that's the place to start with. You can use websites and you can use other textbooks besides OpenStax. You don't have to cite where you got things on this exam. I'm going to know if your answer is like, is that actually correct? Yes, that's fine. If you go to some bogus website that's like not good medical information and you get a wrong answer, I'm not going to track down where you got the wrong answer. I just know that's not a good answer. So you can use websites. You don't have to cite them, but make sure that they are respectable and accurate. And I'll come back to that concept in a minute. Also, don't cut and paste. Just rephrase the info that you get in your own words. And if you cut and paste, and I think that you are, I will also cut and paste and like Google where you got that. And you can totally go to websites, but just don't cut and paste what they're saying, put it in your own words. If you are struggling, ask me. And the earlier you ask me, the more timely you'll get an answer back. So, especially if you're like, I have no idea what she's even talking about here. Just get in touch, ask me. I've worked really hard to write the questions and they belong to me, so don't share them with people. And I hope that you kind of enjoy these exams. So I think you'll like it better than normal exams. Okay, so what are the exams like? Each one of the exams is based off of a disease. And it's a disease that we have not talked about in class, but it's based off of a disease that affects multiple body systems. And I've picked out diseases that affect at least 5 organ systems or 5 body systems that we discuss in A&P2. So I'm not asking questions about muscles and bones and skin from A&P1, even if the disease does affect that. We're going with A&P2 body systems. And the questions are organized by body system as well as some intro type of stuff. So I'm going to use as the example, this is not one of the test diseases, but the disease that is cystic fibrosis. I have had some slides to show cystic fibrosis, but I don't have them in my Dropbox anymore. Took them out to save space. So there is a disease, cystic fibrosis, and it has a genetic cause, and it affects breathing, reproduction, kidney function, skin, and digestive. So that's like five body systems. One of them is AMP1-ish, which is why I didn't pick this disease, but it affects all of these different ones. And the reason that these systems are affected in cystic fibrosis is that people have a mutation, and that mutation causes secretions in the body are too thick or they are too concentrated. And it's not the most common disease, but you've probably heard of it, and you've heard of people that had it. And if I were assigned questions about cystic fibrosis and I wanted to learn more about it, I would go and Google cystic fibrosis and I would look for like, what does Mayo Clinic say? Or what does WebMD is pretty good. What does the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation of America say about this disease? And that's going to have good general info about it. And it affects these 5 body systems. So the way that the questions are organized is you will first have some kind of general research questions. So like question 1 is going to be about general info. And this, you have to do some research. This is not stuff that we learned in class because I don't teach specific diseases. But the question could be like, what causes cystic fibrosis? Part A. Part B, how many people get cystic fibrosis each year? And you would want to go to web resources and find that. You don't have to cite where you got things. If you're nervous about trusting where you got things, you can cite it, but there's some basic questions like that at the start. And then so those could be about the cause, how many did it, what are some major symptoms, stuff like that. So that first section, you will need to go outside your notes and research it. And then the other questions, which are like 2 through 6 or 7. And each one of these has kind of some parts to it, like part A, B, C. Those are organized by body system. So question 2 would be about respiratory stuff. Question 3 would be about skin related stuff. And 4 would be about urinary. And digestive would have a question, and reproductive. And I think in the test, I have those organized like number 3, digestive system, and then part A. And then I start asking questions about, okay, this is what's going on in this disease. How is it going to affect the people's blah, 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 based on what you've learned in class? And for these, go to your class notes first. You are welcome to Google the stuff I'm asking in these questions, but sometimes that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like, how does this relate to what we did in class? So here's an example. We'll do two examples of what I tend to, types of questions I tend to ask. So on respiratory, cystic fibrosis patients have, and I'll give you some info in the question. So they have mucus that is too thick, and they tend to have frequent pneumonia, which is a real thing that happens to cystic fibrosis patients. So knowing that they got mucus that's too thick, they tend to get pneumonia. So the question might be based on what we learned. Something like, why does the mucus tend to get trapped? So that might be the A part. Why does the mucus tend to get trapped if it's too thick? B part. What would you predict about their blood oxygen? And then explain why. Question C might be something like, something else related to breathing difficulties. So on this one, you would want to look back in your notes and think, how do people usually get rid of mucus? They have those ciliated epithelium that's supposed to be flapping the mucus upward and we cough it out. It's too thick, you can't do that. It's too thick, microbes are gonna get trapped there and cause pneumonia. What about this one? If people have really thick mucus in their airways, what will happen to their blood oxygen? It'd be less. Because that mucus is blocking their respiratory membrane, the gases can't cross. So you want to go to class notes for this. You can Google these and it will say some stuff that's relevant and helpful, but it might not be what I'm looking for from class notes. So go to class notes first. Another example. I have a question that is from a different system, so from digestive system. Part A, maybe. People that have cystic fibrosis have pancreatic juice too thick. And it clogs the hepatopancreatic ampulla. Which digestive enzymes do they need to take as pills? And the questions are worded better than this because I'm not making these up right now. So all secretions in their body are too thick, including the secretions that come out of the pancreas, go into the duodenum and carry those pancreatic enzymes with them. Thus, patients can't digest their food very well. Which digestive enzymes would they need? So if you Google this, what digestive enzymes do patients need? You'll get a list. I'm looking for the ones that we used in class on that handout that you all had on test 3. What are the pancreatic enzymes? And then so that would be some number of points. And you would answer that, and that's not a long answer, but it would be a sentence. Write a sentence. So those kinds of questions. And they're not gonna require a large amount of answer, but give yourself time to look in your notes. You can research stuff online, write answers. And when you ask how many questions, each question is 5 or 10 points. Wait, is that right? There's 100 points worth of questions. The biggest question would be 5 points individually. So there's really not more than 20 questions, I guess. I would encourage you, look at these this evening or look at them tomorrow morning, just see what the questions are and kind of get an idea. Okay, this is what I need to work on. And then pace yourself according to your other finals. And please ask me if you totally don't know what to do on a certain question. Or other times students ask me, like if you Google different sources, it will say slightly different things about this many people in the US got it in 2019. And if it's you're finding different answers to that, like feel free to check with me. Just don't check with other people. So the way these are set up in Canvas, you can go in and type what you've got and then leave and then come back to it. So you don't have to do it in all in one sitting. It's another question I get. Y'all look so excited. It's gonna be a good test. Usually these help people's grades unless they super procrastinate, they don't look at their class notes, and they never check with me. So all the time I've been teaching, I think I've had less than 10 people over the years fail this, and it's totally unnecessary. This could be a really good grade. This should be an A grade. So make it happen. Do what you need to do. Make that happen. Back at this for a second.
What, or like, do you want like a specific year?
I will take specific year, or sometimes you'll find those numbers, they'll say this is found in 0.5% of the population, or sometimes the numbers will say this disease occurs in 8 out of 100,000 people in the US. Any of those. Some of the diseases I ask you what's the rate in males and females, because it's different. So I kind of know what the rates are, and if your rate is reasonable, I'm like, yeah, that's correct. It's just like, no, it's not that many people. But generally what you find from reputable web sources is going to be correct. And it can be worldwide, it can be in the US. If you're talking about worldwide, make sure you note all over the world or in the US. Yeah, good question. I heard a Teams loopy thing. But that will work. So let me show again how you find this. So it's going to be down here. And each one of you will have something that shows up in your Canvas at 5 today. And it will say biology 1020 take home final exam. And then it's got a letter like A, there's a version B, version C, version D. Yeah. Other questions that you can think of? You'll end up learning a good amount about some specific disease. So main thing to keep in mind, if you have questions, ask me questions. I won't tell you what the answer to the question is, but I want to help because it breaks my heart if I sit down to grade these and there's somebody that's just like completely off track and they never got in touch. Oh. Other thing to know, I don't grade these until they're all in. So if you get it done on Tuesday, I'm going to wait until all versions of that test are done and I grade them together so I'm consistent. So it will be December 10th, 12th-ish before I have these graded, but y'all are on a good trajectory in this class. Okay, so what I want to do next is kind of give two announcement / reminder things. Yeah, it is 3 actually. And the first one relates to tutors and tutoring. So Phoenix is graduating December 10th and will not be tutoring anymore, which I'm sad about that because she has been amazing. And those of you that, when you filled out the survey and you said Phoenix is the one I went to and you had the comment, we put those in her work study eval and passed those along because that was really nice. Danny's going to be continuing. I really like to have 2 tutors. So if you are ending up with a B in this class and you think that you would like to be a tutor, please get in touch with me. Sometimes in the past, I have like asked people, do you want to be a tutor? But it also works well. If you want to be a tutor, you probably can be a tutor if you've got a B average in this class and you like to help people. That's good. So let me know. And then we'll look at does your schedule work out? Are you work study eligible from a federal sense and stuff like that? So, and there's also an option to tutor AMP1. So if AMP1 is like, that's my jam. I know for some people they like that. We could use an AMP1 tutor and an AMP2 tutor. So get in touch. We're looking. And it helps if you can come to one of the labs. So Tuesday, Thursday, come to one of the labs, that helps. And if you see Phoenix, tell her before she's gone, like, thanks, thanks for helping. Okay, so that was announcement 1. The second announcement is please do your idea for this class, for all your classes, actually, if you haven't already. Those really help us to know what's going well, know what to change in the future. So please do that if you haven't done that already. And that was announcement number 3. And then what I'm going to do the rest of the time is go over exams. So if you haven't taken it, I'll see you sometime next week. And those online, I will see you sometime next week to take the exam 5. But everybody else, we can go over the exam. See you next week. I'm going to stop Teams now. And then those of you on Teams, if you've got other questions, email me, let me know. I'll be around in town. I won't be on campus constantly the next few days, but let me know what you might need. And I will see